Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast, the show where business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals share their stories, lessons learned, and powerful strategies for building relationships and growing their circle of influence. With Melissa Taylor, your host, each week we'll bring you actionable insights to help you build a better network and a better business. Let's dive in.
We are here with your financial mom, Miss Pam. How are you doing today?
Hi, great. Thank you, Melissa, for having me.
I love that your business is, obviously you're a CFP, but you have your financial mom. And every time I'm on a call with you, our listeners can't see this, but if you're watching through YouTube, you can see she has a Lego pyramid on her shelf in the back. And I just think that is so great to kind of go with the financial mom concept.
I'm a mom of boys. So, boys have Legos everywhere. So it was perfect for us.
It is perfect. Yes, I remember stepping on Legos in the middle of the night sometimes with ours.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of crazy. So tell me a little bit about not only your business, because I know that you are a full functioning CFP business that you have, but also the financial mom, your financial mom, and what you're doing with that. Tell us a little bit about all that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I started Pathfinder Planning way back in 2010, and I wanted to help working families who didn't have access to planning and wealth management and investing, because most of the people in the industry at that point needed $1 million of investable assets. Well, I knew from just life experience, regular working people didn't have that kind of money sitting around. Regular people would get up in the morning, send the kids to school, they go to work, come home, pay their bills, and their biggest assets were usually their house and their 401k. And this group of people, they were busy. They were trying to save for retirement. They were trying to figure out, how do I get my kids through college? Oh my gosh, I'm probably helping my parents with something, which I know a lot of people are going through right now. They were struggling with all these questions, and they have more questions than money. So I wanted to put together a firm where people could actually figure out what their financial plan was, and then they could grow into the money. And if they grow into the money, then great. I felt like I had done my job. So that's kind of where we started. Of course, we did add asset management later, but we're still a planning first firm. That's still our core, the core of what we do.
Yeah. And planning is not just budget. Like that's, a lot of people hate, budget. I don't want to do my budget, but it's not just budget. It's not telling them what they can and can't spend money on. It's just creating a plan.
It is. And that plan touches all areas of your financial life. So yes, your budget, that's super important. And we do believe that's like a core piece. But when we're planning, we don't dive into the budget first. We've got to figure out how we even get to that point. But we look at that, we look at cash flow, we look at your savings, your insurance, estate plan. We talk a lot about retirement. We talk about education planning, but also we focus on, those are the what to do. But we also focus on the, how do you feel? That's all the rational stuff, but what's the emotional stuff that goes along that? What are your values? What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish in life? So we spend a lot of time talking about those things as well, so we can marry those two up. And then once you have a plan, the investments and the products after that make so much more sense.
Yeah, because it's not just about, like you said, the what. It's about the why. Like, why are you doing this? What do you want to do in your retirement? Like, what does that look like to you? How much do you want to help your kids? Do you want to go take grandkids on trips? Like, it's all the things.
Yeah. Somebody told me about retirement. They're like, it's easy to know what you're retiring from, but you have to think about, what are you retiring to? What are you going to do once you retire? What does that look like? Because there are a lot of people who get to retirement and they retire because they are supposed to. And then they don't know what to do with themselves quite. So
yes, I believe you have one of those in your house. I believe it's your husband, and he has some very expensive and beautiful hobbies in the art world.
Yes. But it's interesting. I do feel like God's like put me in this spot and pointed me in this direction in my life to help people. And it's fascinating to see, because my husband did retire early thinking, I have things I want to do. Right. And the thing that he ended up having to do, which was really important, is be the caregiver for his father. And he is, shifted from his home. He's shifted into assisted living. There's a lot of work and effort that goes with that. And that's almost a full-time job in itself. So having that ability to have the choice to stop work so that you could do this other important work in life, that's super important. And quite honestly, we had to get a financial planner to help us to get to this point, because I could kind of see it, but my husband couldn't. And so we need that other third party to really come in and help, not with just the money part, because we could figure that, but, help him decide, what is it you want to do? What direction you want to go?
Yeah. It's a little different coming from your wife.
Exactly. Totally. So even planners need planners.
Yeah. Even planners need planners, and everybody needs a mom. And I know that one of your core values is that not everybody grew up in a family that had a good relationship with money and understood. And so being that mom for people that didn't really have that background is a wonderful, wonderful place to be. So let's pivot a little bit. Now, I also know that you go out and you do speaking. So you have Pathfinder Planning, and then you have your financial mom, which is really more about your educational arm and going out and doing speaking. Tell me a little bit about why you decided to kind of jump into that world.
Oh, I have felt that personal financial planning is so important, and everybody needs that. And I actually remember being in college and taking a personal financial planning course, and just my eyes were open. I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody needs to know this. And, people, they didn't. And so for me, I was like, wow, this is definitely the area I need to be involved in. And so that's kind of, how I grew through that. But even now, I feel like finances have gotten so complex and they're so overwhelming, and people just, they don't want to do it. And I don't blame them. There are days I don't want to do my own, but we work with that to try and get people educated on, here are the things that are important. Here are the things that we can do to simplify things. Here are the things we can do to minimize taxes. Here are the things we can do to save more, and really help them to get to the point where they are saving for their own goals and they have their values intact, and are we want to just guide them towards the direction they need to go.
Yeah. And I know that one of your talks also speaks directly to small business owners, because I think you call it something like untangle your business from your personal finances.
Yes. Untangling your business and your personal. And this is an area that we've shifted into. We've done so much work on the personal side, but you know what? There are small businesses where you are the business and the business is you. And that's a group that we found really, really needs our help. What we see there is when you've got your own great idea, you've got your business, you've decided, here's what I want to do. This is why it's important to me. And then you kind of make that choice. Wow, okay, this is going to be a real business. This is not just some expensive hobby I'm doing. And then you start to put that framework around it. If you have your business money and your personal money all jumbled up and all tangled up, then it doesn't really work. You can't tell how much money is the business actually making?
Right.
Is the business really a viable thing? Is this something I can sell later on down the line? If you can't separate your personal money from that business money, you don't even know if you truly have a viable business.
Yeah, that's so true. If you network for your business, you already know follow-up is everything when it comes to growing relationships and driving success. But here's the thing. Most of us want to follow up well. We just get stuck. Staying consistent, keeping it personal, making it stand out, it's hard. That's why I use NetEffect.io. It makes follow-up simple, cuts through all the noise, and helps me stay on top of every relationship without dropping the ball. I never miss a follow-up, and honestly, my network wouldn't be the same without it. So check it out. NetEffect.io. And right now you can use promo code NBG50 for 50% off of your first month. NetEffect.io, your secret weapon to unforgettable follow-up. Okay, so let's switch to, obviously you use speaking as a
Mhm.
marketing arm for your business, but I know that you also use networking. So
Yes.
tell me a little bit about how networking has played a part in all of your business that you do.
Oh, great. One of the things when I first started doing some networking, truly when I first started Pathfinder Planning, which is the name of my firm, your financial mom is like who I am, but Pathfinder Planning is the firm. But when I started, I was very fortunate to join a very small but open and welcoming group called the NAPFA, which is the National Association of Personal Financial Planning Associates. And I probably got some of that wrong, but NAPFA, great group. They were all very welcome. So I went to a luncheon and just kind of met some people and introduced myself. And then after that, I started just reaching out to these people individually because I knew they were like-minded. I knew they were interested in planning.
Mhm.
But that's how I really got started networking, was truly within my own industry.
Yeah.
And, it was great because I could talk shop with these people all day, but they also had clients who, again, they were looking for clients with maybe $1 million of investable assets, where I was looking for clients who were south of that.
Yeah.
And so they were a great source of referrals, and they still are.
Mhm.
Those are where the majority of our clients come from. Clients either find us through referrals from advisors or online.
Yeah. So it's interesting, a lot of people forget that their own industry association is very rich with connections and,
Mhm.
like you said, possible referral partners. And I think industry associations often get overlooked. They consider it more professional development rather than
Mhm.
networking, which,
Mhm.
networking and professional development can really go hand in hand.
Mhm. Yes, that's true. I found another local group here. NAPFA has since kind of gotten smaller, but the FPA, Financial Planning Association, huge group in Charlotte area. So I love going and meeting with those people, and I'll have virtual coffee with them, or sometimes we'll go out to lunch and just get together. And I've been able to join some other smaller groups to help. For example, with the symposium, we help figure out what that curriculum development and what
Mhm.
those courses need to be for that
Mhm.
personal development. But it's really nice to kind of get to meet with some other advisors who are very like-minded on a regular basis.
Yeah, industry associations. Now, you do
Mhm.
also go to some chambers, and of course, you're a Network Build
Mhm.
Grow member.
Yes.
So, what does it look like? Like, do you put on a different hat depending on where you're going, so to
Mhm.
speak?
I really do. I think because industry specific, I can wear that planning mom hat all the day. And, I know so
Yeah,
many people and
talk
we have
shop.
those relationships. Yeah, that's great. But when I go to these other ones, and honestly, I'm an introvert. So these are hard for me. And I know you've had some people on here before who've said that too, that networking is a little harder when you're an introvert. So
Mhm.
I try to do a couple things to help with that. I've been very happy with Network Build Grow. Oh my gosh, group has been so overly welcoming, which has been fabulous. Everybody's willing to talk and help and share, and that's the best when you find a group that's like that. So if you're out networking and you go to a group and you kind of get that vibe, like everybody's out for themselves, or they're just maybe looking out for me, or I have to give you this referral and you give me that one, or they're just
Mhm.
here, take my card. That's a whole different thing, and it for me, it wasn't a fit because I've been to some like that. But
Mhm.
finding a group where you can really, talk to people, and people are truly interested in your business, and
Mhm.
you can be interested in their business,
Mhm.
and find out more about what they do. That's a fascinating group, because while they may not be my client, and I'm actually not looking for people from this group to be my client. I'm looking for help in finding the right clients. And
Right.
that has been a very great experience for me.
Yeah, finding those strategic business
Mhm.
alliances, those referral partners. So,
Mhm.
one of the things we talk about with our clients is, who is that? Like,
Mhm.
for you, Pam, who are
Mhm.
good strategic business alliances for you?
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
what would that be?
Yeah, what we are finding, because we are shifting a little bit more into this small and micro business
Mhm.
market, those are good clients for us. It's people who, they have a small business. It is kind of, it's kind of them, they are the business. We want to be able to help them to, again, untangle their finances, but that way they can see their business as its own entity, and its business can stand on its own 2 feet. But on the personal side, they still have the same, questions and concerns and, competing priorities that everybody else has. It's just a little bit multiplied because you have the business side of things. But once we figure out what that personal looks like, then we can grow that on the personal side. We can help them with their, the retirement plan on the business side that's going to save them tax wise, but also going to grow and get them reach their goals on the personal side.
Yeah. So with that in mind, good strategic business alliances are actually business coaches, other people that work with these types of micro businesses.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Business coaches. There's a lot of like HR people out there who work in human resources, people who work in healthcare. They usually know business owners, and that's, this ends up being more administrative from a business standpoint, or sometimes it's a business perk. If you own the business, you can pay for your financial planning. That could be a business expense for you.
Yeah, it definitely could. Definitely could. Okay, so let's get into some rapid fire questions. I want you to answer first thing that comes to mind. Okay.
Okay.
When attending an event, do you aim for quality or quantity of new connections, and why?
Oh, I like quality. And the reason for that, I think, goes back to that introvert in me. It's, my social battery will die before I meet 50 people in the room. But if I meet a couple of people, and 1 or 2 people, and just have a really good conversation with them, and maybe can reach out to them again later, that's a worthwhile thing for me. I definitely go for quality.
Okay, great. Now, once you've met somebody for the first time, what is your number one thing that you do to get connected after the event?
Oh, that's great. Reach out on LinkedIn. That's definitely the first go-to. And from there, I'm going to, put them in my CRM and follow up with a spreadsheet. I have kind of list my things in there. And I probably don't follow up as quickly maybe as some other things, but I'm trying to, work that into my schedule and have dedicated time to spend for that particular follow-up.
Yeah. So when you do that follow-up, what's one way that you add value to the relationship?
I think back to the conversation that I had, or what was it about that person that made them interesting to me? And sometimes it's as simple as, hey, I would love to have virtual coffee with you and just find out what you do, because what you do sounds really interesting to me. And I want to know that. So that's one thing I do a lot. I have a lot of virtual coffees. And then, from there, if we want to have, a lunch or in person or whatever, that's great. But I like just reaching out and just finding out about other people, because people love to talk about themselves, but I'm truly interested in what they do.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting that you said virtual coffees. We get a lot of people on here that say one-on-ones. And I don't know about you, but I don't have time in my schedule for a ton of one-on-ones where I have to drive into town, because you and I don't live that far away from each other. And it's a good 30 minutes into Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then by the time you do that, and then you sit it for an hour and talk to somebody, and then you drive home, that's like 2 to 3 hours of your day minimum.
It does. It takes up half your day. But, I found, and I actually discovered this during COVID, right after COVID, I was like, I really would like to reach out to, some people that I know, but everybody's at home. Maybe I'll just do a virtual coffee. And people loved it. They absolutely loved it. So we take just like 30 minutes and get together. I actually drink tea, but I call it coffee. That's totally good. You can drink whatever you want, and just visit with no agenda other than, hey, let's just talk to you. Tell me what you do, and it's nice to find some commonality in those conversations.
Yeah, and it's funny because it actually saves both of you time. It's easier to slip that into your day on both sides. So you could definitely, for the busy people that you're trying to connect with, because you are trying to connect with busy people, business coaches, probably business attorneys, other financial planners. These people are busy.
Yes.
So finding time is much easier when you do it virtually. Okay.
Definitely.
One more thing.
Okay.
What is a really good way that you start a conversation at a networking event?
Oh, goodness. That might be a tough one for the introvert, right? But sometimes I'll just introduce myself, and I tend to say, "Hi, I'm Pam Horack. I'm your financial mom." And the fact that I have this little tagline, so if you can invent your persona, people are like fascinated. They're like, "Oh my gosh, that is the best thing ever," And I did not come up with this. Let me just say, I cannot take credit for it. I was working with some younger male colleagues. Were having really good, deep discussion at a conference I was at. And then, we were ready to go to lunch, and they're like, "Where do we go? I don't know." And I'm like, "Oh, I have a coupon." And they just thought that was great. They're like, "Oh, you're like our mom. You're like our financial mom." And it just stuck. But
That's so great.
yeah, so I just, I introduce myself a lot as your financial mom. People won't remember my name, but they'll remember that.
Yeah. And then the conversation just kind of takes off from there.
Yes.
All right. Now here's a tough one. And this will be the
Okay.
last question I give you of the day. How do you get out of either an awkward conversation or someone who's just monopolizing a lot of your time when you do want to meet at least a couple of other people? How do you kind of gracefully exit that conversation?
How do I do it, or how should I do it? That could be two different things.
It could be.
Yes, that is a hard thing for me to do, is because one, I want to listen, but of course I want to be polite too, and not, feel like, okay, time to wrap it up. So it's a little bit hard, but sometimes I will introduce them to somebody else, and I can, or I will tell them, "Hey, you know what? I heard about XYZ. Why don't I email that to you? What's your email address?" "Okay, thanks so much." And then you can kind of wrap up from there. So I've done that before too. And it's helpful for them, but it does kind of close out that conversation a little more quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there are still people out there that kind of verbally vomit everything
Yes.
all the time. And you're like, whoa, stop pitching me. And so it is difficult to do that. So I lied. I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
So one more question. How do you make sure that people don't get confused between the two things? Because you do speak and you do workshops, and for, it's all under Pathfinder Planning, but how do you make sure that they're going to remember the financial mom, but you also want them to remember Pathfinder Planning?
Yeah, that's been kind of a struggle. So I like to say Pathfinder Planning is my firm. This is where we do the planning, we do the investment work, and I have a team. So I have Aaron and Karina, who are fabulous. They help do all the work and put together a great plan, get the investment set up. Those type of things. We outsource, insurance if people need that. We have, we pull in other outside people where we need to. So that's the business piece. Your financial mom, I like to think of that more as that's my title. It's kind of who I am. So that is more of the business development and the speaking. And there's a book coming out later.
I know. I heard.
I'm super excited about that. So we're still in the process of putting that together, maybe a little bit, but that's okay. More editing to do. But yeah, your financial mom is more of that piece of it. It's more the front side and the business development piece of what we do.
Yeah, great. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation, and I have enjoyed immensely getting to know you over the past year and a half, whatever it's been. And I look forward to just more big and great things out of you. The book, I can't wait for the book to come out.
I know. I'm excited too. Yay. Thank you so much, Melissa. It's been great. And Network Build Grow has been just like so much fun. So I'm so glad we got to work together and introduce me to this fabulous group.
I'm glad you're here. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Network Build Grow podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur or professional. And of course, if you're not yet part of our community, visit networkbuildgrow.com to connect with us. Until next time, keep building and keep growing.